Hello class, welcome to this week's filmmaking lesson. I want to talk about this anime that doesn't working or probably video not converting or probably it's encoding. Okay, the first thing yesterday I just went to a website called KissAnime.ru and then I go to African no salaryman and then I just looked on a video on Nova server that says we are encoding. Please try another server. And I go to another server like beta server, but it was not working because it's not converting. So we should try another server. So I go down here and looked up on MP4 upload. So I got into that, and then it just said there was ads over there, lots of ads, and filled with viruses. So yeah, when you download this anime, just make your own anime if Nova server has encoding or Beta server has no converting anymore. So yep, just make your own anime, alright? With your own voice acting, alright? Good class. Alright, so first let's look up on Walt Disney Home Video releases. So let's look up on 2019 in home video. Okay, it will show up pretty soon. Let's go to Wikipedia. And let's go down a bit. Cause we have to do our work. Okay, we did Descendants 3 and Avengers Endgame, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, Thor the Dark World, and Aladdin 1992, Aladdin 2019, Brave, A Bug's Life, Cars 2, Finding Dory, Finding Nemo, The Good Dinosaur, The Incredibles, Inside Out 2015, Monsters Incorporated, Monsters University, The Princess and the Frog, Ratatouille, Tangled, Up, 2009, WALL-E, Wreck-It Ralph 2012, Dark Phoenix, Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, Solo: A Star Wars Story, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, Star Wars Episode 2, The Attack of the Clones, and Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Okay, so today we will be doing Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, 1977 film. Here is a plot in this film. The galaxy is in the midst of a civil war. Rebel spies have stolen plans to the Galactic Empire's Death Star, a colossal moon-sized space station capable of destroying entire planets. Imperial Senator Princess Leia, secretly one of the rebellion's leaders, has obtained the plans, but her starship is captured by an Imperial Star Destroyer under the command of the restless Darth Vader before she is captured. Leia hides the plans in the memory of astromech droid R2-D2, who, along with protocol droid C-3PO, flees in an escape pod to the desert planet below Tatooine. The droids are captured by Jawa traders who sell them to moisture farmers Owen and Beru Malars and their nephew Luke Skywalker. While cleaning R2-D2, Luke accidentally triggers a part of a holographic recording of Leia in which she requests help from Obi-Wan Kenobi. The next morning, Luke finds R2-D2 missing and while searching for him, encounters old Ben Kenobi, an elderly hermit being a friend of Luke's, who reveals himself as Obi-Wan. He tells Luke of his days as one of the Jedi Knights, former peacekeepers of the Galactic Republic who derived their power from an energy field called the Force until being all but wiped out by the Empire. Contrary to what his uncle has told him, Luke learns that his father fought alongside Obi-Wan as a Jedi Knight until Vader, a former pupil of Obi-Wan's, turned to the dark side of the Force and murdered him. Obi-Wan presents Luke with his father's old weapon, a Jedi lightsaber. R2-D2 plays Leia's message for Obi-Wan, in which she begs him to take the Death Star plans to her home planet of Alderaan, and gave them to her father for analysis. Obi-Wan invites Luke to accompany him to Alderaan and learn the ways of the Force. Luke declines, but changes his mind after discovering that Imperial stormtroopers have killed his aunt and an uncle and destroyed their farm. Obi-Wan and Luke visit a cantina in Mos Eisley, where, after a brief confrontation, they meet smuggler Han Solo, who owes money to local mobster Jabba the Hutt and his Wookiee co-pilot Chewbacca. After negotiating a price, Obi-Wan, Luke, R2-D2, and C-3PO join forces aboard Han's ship, the Millennium Falcon. Death Star Commander Grand Moff Tarkin orders the destruction of Alderaan via the Darth Star's turbolaser as a show of force. The Falcon crew discovers the planet's remains and is captured by the Death Star's tractor beam, which Obi-Wan goes to disable. Luke discovers that Leia is imprisoned on the Death Star and rescues her with the help of Han and Chewbacca in a swashbuckling series of escapes. After Obi-Wan sacrifices himself in a lightsaber duel with Darth Vader to enable the heroes to escape, the Falcon escapes amid a fierce dogfight with Imperial TIE starfighters. Using a tracking beacon placed aboard the Falcon, the Imperials followed the rebels to the hidden base of Yavin 4. The Death Star plans to reveal that it can be destroyed by triggering a chain reaction from an external exhaust port. Luke joins the Rebel fighter squadron in a siege against the approaching Death Star, while Han collects his payment, intending to leave and repay Jabba. In the ensuing battle, the rebels suffer heavy losses after several unsuccessful runs. Vader leads a squadron of TIE fighters and prepares to attack Luke's X-Wing. But Han returns and fires at the Imperial fighters, sending Vader spiraling away. Guided by Obi-Wan's spirit, Luke turns off his targeting computer and uses the Force to destroy the Death Star just before it can fire on the Rebel base. Killing numerous Imperials, including Tarkin, on Yavin 4, Leia rewards Luke and Han medals for their heroism. Alright, so on tomorrow we will be doing Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, 1980 film. Here is a plot in this film. 3 years after the destruction of the Death Star, the Rebel Alliance, led by Princess Leia, has set up a new base on the ice planet of Hoth. The Imperial fleet, led by Darth Vader, and continues to hunt for the new Rebel base by dispatching probe droids across the galaxy. Luke Skywalker is captured by Wampa while investigating on one such probe, but manages to escape from the Wampa's lair by using the Force and his lightsaber before Luke succumbs to hypothermic sleep. The Force spirit of his deceased mentor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, instructs him to go to Dagobah to train under Jedi Master Yoda. Han Solo locates Luke, and the two are rescued by a search party the next morning. Meanwhile, the probe alerts the Imperial fleet to the rebels' location. The Empire launches a large-scale attack using AT-AT walkers to capture the base, which forces the rebels to evacuate. Han and Leia escape with C-3PO and Chewbacca on the Millennium Falcon. But the ship's hyperdrive malfunctions. They hide in an asteroid field where Han and Leia grow closer amidst tension and briefly kiss. Several bounty hunters, summoned by Vader, assist in finding the Falcon. Meanwhile, Luke travels with R2-D2 in his X-Wing fighter to the swamp planet of Dagobah, where he crash lands. He meets a diminutive creature who reveals himself to be Yoda. After conferring with the Obi-Wan's spirit, Yoda reluctantly accepts Luke as his student. Luke learns some more about the Force from Yoda, and the Jedi Master lifts his X-Wing out of the swamp. After evading the Imperial fleet, Han's group travels to the floating cloud city on the gas planet of Bespin, which is run by Han's old friend Lando Calrissian. Unbeknownst to the group, the bounty hunter Boba Fett has tracked the Falcon. Shortly after their arrival, Lando betrays the group to Darth Vader, who plans to use the group as bait to lure out Luke, intending to capture him and turn him to the dark side. Luke experiences a premonition of Han and Leia in pain and, against the wishes of Yoda and Obi-Wan, abandons his training to go rescue them, intending to hold Luke in suspended animation by imprisoning him in carbonite. Vader selects Han to be frozen as a test subject. Han survives the process and is given to Fett, who plans to collect the bounty on him from Jabba the Hutt. Lando, experiencing a change of heart, frees Leia and Chewbacca, but they are too late to stop Fett from departing with Solo aboard. They fight their way back to the Falcon and flee to the city. Meanwhile, Luke arrives and engages Vader in a lightsaber duel that leads them over the city's central air shaft. Vader severs Luke's right hand, disarming him, and tempts him to join the dark side. Luke accuses Vader of murdering his father, but Vader reveals that he is Luke's father. Disbelieving, Luke drops into the air shaft and is ejected beneath the floating city, where he hangs from an antenna. He reaches out telepathically to Leia, who senses him and persuades Lando and Chewie to turn back. After Luke is brought aboard, they are chased by TIE fighters towards Vader on his Star Destroyer, but R2-D2 reactivates the Falcon's hyperdrive, allowing them to escape. Rejoined with the Rebel fleet, Luke's severed hand is replaced with a robotic hand. Lando and Chewbacca depart in the Falcon to save Han. Alright, so on Wednesday we will be doing Star Wars Episode 6, The Return of the Jedi, 1983 film. Here is a plot in this film. In an attempt to rescue Han Solo from crime lord Jabba the Hutt, C-3PO and R2-D2 are sent to Jabba's palace on Tatooine. In a trade bargain made by Luke Skywalker disguised as a bounty hunter, Princess Leia infiltrates the palace under the pretense of collecting the bounty on Chewbacca and unfreezes Han, but is caught and enslaved. Luke soon arrives to bargain for his friend's release, but Jabba drops him through a trapdoor with the intent of letting him be eaten by a rancor. After Luke kills the creature, Jabba sentences him, Han, and Chewbacca to death by being fed to the Sarlacc, a huge carnivorous plant-like desert beast. having hidden his lightsaber inside R2-D2. Luke frees himself and battles Jabba guards while Leia uses her chains to strangle Jabba to death. As the others rendezvous with the Rebel Alliance, Luke returns to Dagobah, where he finds that Yoda is dying. Yoda confirms that Darth Vader, once known as Anakin Skywalker, is Luke's father, and becomes one with the Force. The Force ghost of Obi-Wan Kenobi reveals that Leia is Luke's twin sister and tells Luke that he must face Vader again to finish his training and defeat the Empire. The Rebel Alliance learns that the Empire has been constructing a new Death Star under the supervision of the Emperor himself. As the station is protected by an energy shield, Han leads a strike team to destroy the shield generator on the forest moon of Endor. Doing so would allow a squadron of starfighters to destroy the Death Star. Luke and Leia accompany the strike team to Endor in a stolen Imperial shuttle. Luke and his companions encounter a tribe of Ewoks and, after an initial conflict, gain their trust. Later, Luke tells Leia that she is his sister. Vader is their father, and that he must confront him. Surrendering to Imperial troops, Luke is brought before Vader, and he tries to convince his father to return from the dark side of the Force. Vader takes Luke to the Death Star to meet the Emperor, intent on turning him to the dark side. The Emperor reveals that the Death Star is operational, and that the Rebel fleet will fall into a trap. On Endor, Han's team is captured by Imperial forces, but a counterattack by the Ewoks allows the rebels to infiltrate the shield generator. Meanwhile, Lando Calrissian leads the Rebel fleet on the Millennium Falcon, only to find that the Death Star's shield is still active, and the Imperial fleet waiting for them. The Emperor tempts Luke to give in to his anger, and Luke engages Vader in a lightsaber duel. Vader senses that Luke has a sister, and threatens to turn her to the dark side. Enraged, Luke attacks and severes Vader's prosthetic hand. The Imperial entreats Luke to kill Vader and take his place, but Luke refuses, declaring himself a Jedi. Furious, the Emperor tortures Luke with Force lightning, and unwilling to let his son die. Vader throws the Emperor to his death, but is mortally electrocuted in the process. At his father's last request, Luke removes Vader's mask, and the redeemed Anakin Skywalker dies in his son's arms. After the strike team destroys the shield generator, Lando leads a group of Rebel fighters into the Death Star core and destroys its main reactor. As the Falcon flies out of the Death Star superstructure, and Luke escapes on the shuttle with his father's body, the station explodes. On Endor, Leia reveals to Han that Luke is her brother. As they kiss, Luke cremates Anakin's body on the pyre. As the rebels celebrate the defeat of the Empire, Luke sees the spirits of Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Anakin watching over him. Alright, so on Thursday, we will be doing Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, 2015 film. Here is a plot to this film. 30 years after the Galactic Civil War, the First Order has arisen from the fallen Galactic Empire and seeks to eliminate the New Republic. The Resistance, backed by the Republic and led by General Leia Organa opposes while Leia searches for her brother Luke Skywalker who has gone missing. On the desert planet Jakku, Resistance pilot Poe Dameron receives a map to Luke's location from Lor's son Tekka. Stormtroopers commanded by Kylo Ren raid the village and capture Poe. While Kylo kills son Tekka, Poe's droid BB-8 escapes with a map and encounters a scavenger named Rey near a junkyard settlement. Kylo tortures Poe using the Force and learns of BB-8. Stormtrooper VN-2187, disillusioned by the First Order, frees Poe and they escape in a stolen TIE fighter. Upon learning that FN-2187 has no other name, Poe gives him the name Finn as they lead to Jakku to retrieve BB-8. They are shot down by a First Order Star Destroyer and crash land. Finn survives and assumes that Poe died in the crash. He encounters Rey and BB-8, but the First Order tracks them and launches an airstrike. Finn, Rey, and BB-8 steal the Millennium Falcon from the junkyard. Finn shoots down the First Order pursuers as Rey pilots the ship off the planet. The Falcon is captured by a larger ship piloted by Han Solo and Chewbacca, looking to reclaim their former vessel. The group is attacked by gangs seeking to settle debts with Han and escapes in the Falcon. At the First Order's Starkiller base, a planet converted into a star-powered superweapon, Supreme Leader Snoke allows General Hux to use the weapon for the first time. Snoke questions Kylo's ability to deal with emotions relating to his father, Han Solo, one Kylo says means nothing to him. On board the Falcon, Han determines that BB-8's map is incomplete. He then explains that Luke attempted to rebuild the Jedi Order but exiled himself when an apprentice turned to the dark side, destroyed the temple, and slaughtered the other apprentices. The crew travels to the planet Takodana and meets with Cantina owner Maz Kanata, who offers assistance getting BB-8 to Resistance. Rey is drawn by the Force to a secluded vault where she finds the lightsaber that once belonged to Luke and his father, Anakin Skywalker. She experiences disturbing visions and flees into the woods. Confused and terrified, Maz gives Finn the lightsaber for safekeeping. Starkiller Base destroys a planetary system which is home to the New Republic's capital and senate, and a portion of its fleet. The First Order attacks Takodana in search of BB-8. Han and Chewbacca and Finn are saved by Resistance X-Wing fighters led by Poe, who survived the crash. Leia arrives at Takodana with C-3PO and reunites with her husband, Han. Meanwhile, Kylo captures Rey and takes her to Starkiller Base, but she resists his mind-reading attempts. Discovering that she can use the Force, Rey escapes by using a Jedi mind trick on a nearby guard. At the Resistance base on Dequar, BB-8 finds RTG-2, who has been inactive for some time. As Starkiller Base prepares to fire once more, the Resistance devises a plan to destroy it by attacking the main facility. Using the Falcon, Han, Chewbacca, and Finn infiltrate the facility, find Rey, and plant explosives. Han confronts Kylo, calling him by his birth name, Ben, and implores him by abandoning the dark side. Kylo seems to consider this, but ultimately refuses and kills his own father. Devastated, Chewbacca shoots Kylo and sets up with the explosives, allowing Poe to attack and destroy the base's thermal oscillator, which begins a fatal chain reaction from the planet's core. The injured Kylo pursues Finn and Rey into the woods. Finn fights Kylo to protect Rey, but Kylo knocks him unconscious. Rey takes the lightsaber and taps into the Force to defeat Kylo in a duel. They are then separated by the fissure. As the planet's surface begins to splinter, Snoke orders Hux to evacuate and bring Kylo to him to complete his training. Chewbacca rescues Rey and the unconscious Finn, and they escape aboard the Falcon as Resistance forces flee. Starkiller Base implodes, forming a star. On Dequar, Leia and Ren mourn Han's death. R2-D2 awakens and travels the rest of the map, which Rey and Chewbacca use to find the oceanic planet Acto via the Falcon. After landing on a small remote island, Rey climbs a mountain and finds Luke at the summit. Without a word, she offers him the lightsaber. Alright, so on Friday, we will be doing Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, 2017 film. Here is a plot in this film. Shortly after the destruction of Starkiller Base, General Leia Organa leads the evacuation of Resistance forces from Dequar. When the First Order fleet arrives. Against Leia's orders, Poe Dameron leads a costly counterattack that destroys a First Order dreadnought. The remaining Resistance escapes into hyperspace, but the First Order uses a device to track them and attacks again. Kylo Ren hesitates to fire on the late Resistance ship after sensing his mother, Leia's presence, but his wingmen destroy the bridge, killing most of the Resistance leaders. Leia is dragged into space, but survives by using the Force. While Leia recovers, Vice Admiral Holdo assumes command of the Resistance. Running low on fuel, the remaining fleet is pursued by the First Order. Rey, having traveled to Alk-2 with Chewbacca and R2-D2 aboard the Millennium Falcon, attempts to recruit Luke Skywalker to Resistance under self-imposed exile. Luke refuses to help and says that the Jedi should end, but encouraged by R2-D2, he eventually begins to teach Rey about the Force. Rey and Kylo began communicating through the Force, puzzling them both. After Kylo tells Rey what happened between him and Luke that caused him to choose the dark side, Luke confesses that he momentarily contemplated killing Kylo upon sensing that Snoke was corrupting him. This prompted Kylo to destroy Luke's new Jedi Order. Convinced that Kylo can be redeemed, Rey leaves Alk-2. Luke prepares to burn the Jedi Library, but hesitates. Luke's teacher Yoda appears as a spirit, destroys the library by summoning a bolt of lightning, and encourages Luke to learn from his failure. Meanwhile, Poe entrusts Finn, Mechanic, Rose Tickle, and BB-8 with a secret mission to find someone who can deactivate the First Order's tracking device. May and Maz Kanata says they can find in the casino town of Cantobite. They meet the hacker DJ and escapes and escape the city with the help of some stablehand, children and riding animals. They set free. Finn, Rose, and DJ infiltrate Snoke's ship, arriving at the same time as Rey, but are captured by Captain Phasma. Meanwhile, Kylo brings Rey to Snoke, who says that he facilitated the connection between her and Kylo as part of a plan to defeat Luke. Holdo plans to evacuate the remaining Resistance members using small transport vessels. Believing her plan to be cowardly and futile, Poe leads a mutiny. Leia recovers and stuns Poe, allowing the evacuation to begin. Holdo remains on the ship to mislead Snoke's fleet as the others flee to an abandoned base on Crate. On the First Order flagship, DJ buys his freedom by revealing the Resistance's plan to General Hux, and the First Order fleet begins firing on the evacuation transports, destroying many of them. Ordered to kill Rey, Kylo instead kills Snoke and defeats his guards alongside Rey. Rey hopes that Kylo has abandoned the dark side, but he instead asks her to rule the galaxy with him, refusing that she and Kylo battle using the Force to obtain the Skywalker lightsaber. Splitting it in two, Holdo sacrifices herself by ramming into Snoke's flagship at light speed, crippling it. Meanwhile, Rey escapes with Kylo, while Kylo declares himself supreme. Later, BB-8 frees Finn and Rose. They defeat Phasma and join the survivors on Crate. When the First Order arrives, Poe, Finn, and Rose attack with old speeders. Rey and Chewbacca draw TIE fighters away in the Falcon, while Rose prevents Finn from sacrificing himself to destroy the enemy siege cannon, which subsequently penetrates the Resistance fortress. Luke appears and confronts the First Order to allow the surviving Resistance to escape. Kylo orders the First Order's forces to fire on Luke, who is unharmed. He then engages Luke in a lightsaber duel. Upon striking Luke, Kylo realizes that Luke is not physically present, but only appearing through a projection of the Force. Rey helps the remaining Resistance escape on the Falcon. Luke, exhausted, dies peacefully on Ahch-To, becoming one with the Force. Rey and Leia senses his death, and Leia tells her that the Resistance can rise again. On Canto Bight, the Stablehands recount the story of Luke Skywalker. Afterward, one of them moves a broom with the Force and gazes into space. Alright, that's all the Walt Disney Home Video releases we got. So, on 2nd, we will be doing Emma Monkey Pictures and Roman Cow Productions and Donkey Teeth Company shorts. It is about a zombie who has been infiltrated to attack the amusement park in the 2009's Zombieland, but it's well known that Zombie was a fan art in this image, but it's not in the paint anymore. The zombies are attacking the amusement park, and then the bomb sets off to the amusement park, destroying all kinds of amusement park attractions and their own tents into a circus parade. The zombies were killed, and it is well known the man who has been a zombie hunters. Alright, that's all the shorts we got. So 3rd, we will be doing Samsung Galaxy Note 10 series. Well, like I said, if anime does not work, you can make your own anime, okay? So I did on a sentence of a book or music to Back to the Show, and then if you wanna do FL Studio to put on piano, like Star Wars theme song for short, and then put into backed ones, you can. So yeah, I might not be here anymore because I'm going to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge by this week. Okay. So all right, that's all I got for today. Let's do some work now.